channel. So this is a fourth part of the Flow Designer series, and we are going to take a look on how we can build a custom actions in Flow Designer. So it is quite tricky when it comes to custom actions because we'll have to apply some logics based on the JavaScripts and all, where we define inputs and outputs and all. So in this video, we are going to take a look on how we can build a custom actions with the real-time use cases which is being used in the industry. Now, before watching this video, I have already uploaded three more parts on Flow Designer, which is part 1, part 2, and part 3. And during those parts, I have given the real-time use cases. I have built the real-time flows which is being used in real-time use cases, real-time industries. And in the part 1 and part 2, I've designed simple flows. On the other hand, in the part 3, I have designed a subflow. So I would recommend, before watching this video, you should go ahead and watch the part 1 and part 2 and part 3. I will also provide the link in the description. So as of now, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, so I would request, please go ahead and subscribe it, to share, like, and comment. Okay, so without wasting time, let's start our video. So this would be our use case. If I show you on my notepad, so we are going to create a custom action that will auto assign the incidents based on the category. Now, when it comes to custom action, we need to make sure for the few things like inputs. While designing a custom action, we will pass the inputs and we will get the values in outputs. But these are the basic terms. But what is the need of creating a custom action? So sometimes you will have to build some complex logic and flows, which sometimes seems tricky with the out of the box actions. So we can utilize this custom actions in order to build some complex logic. But in our scenario, if you see, so this is a very basic uh, custom action which we are going to build just for the understanding purpose, that how we can take a concept of custom action and how we can build it properly. So let's get back to the instance. Now I will just click on all and navigate to the flow designer. Flow designer. So I'll just open this flow designer, so it will land me to the workflow studio page, as you can see that. Okay, now we have several tabs like flow, subflow, trigger, action, and decision tables. Now we are going to build actions in this video. So I have already uploaded a videos on playbooks, subflow, flow, and decision tables. I will also provide the link for those in the descriptions as well. Now we are going to build an action. So I'll just click on action. It is loading. Now, the same way, we'll have to provide some basic details like action name, description, application, and we do have some additional properties as we did for the flows and subflows. Now, I'm going to provide action name which would describe my action or purpose of my action. So let's say auto assign incidents. So that would be my action name. As of now, I'm not going to give any description, and the application, I am in global, so I would be creating in global application. Now, if I expand this, show additional properties, so you would see few more fields which is accessible from. So this action from where you can, from which application you can access. So I would prefer that all application scope can access this action. Now the category, if you want to provide a category, you can simply provide it, but I'm not gonna to provide any category as of now. And the production policy, I'll leave it as none. So I'll simply just click on build action. Okay, now I have created my action as of now, but now I need to provide the actual inputs and outputs and the logic that how this action will work. So when it comes to custom action, here are three things: inputs, outputs, and error evaluation. So as of now, the mandatory thing is input. First, we need to pass the input from the flow. because when we are building a custom action, we will call that custom action from the flow. So we will simply go ahead and create an input. So we'll just click on create input. So in our case, we are going to assign an incident to the specific group based on the category. Let's say if category is hardware, then we are going to assign that incident to the hardware group. For that, we require the sys id of the incident. So we'll create one input which is called sys id. I'll just type sys id, press tab, so name would be auto populated, and I will make this as mandatory. You can also select the types, but sys id is a string type field, so I'll just make it as string and I'll save it. As of now, we've created our first input for the actions. Now if you see here, which is small plus icon which says add a new step. Now I have defined my input. Now I want to process this input in the script so that I can drive the logic. So I'll just click on plus, and here you will see multiple actions like ask for approval, create or update record, create record from remote for remote table, create task. We can also go with this option, create or update record, but as of now we are just going it from the scratch. So we will utilize the script step, because in most of the cases you would be using this script step with the custom actions. So I'll just simply click on script steps. Okay, now here if you see here, this is the input variable, this is the script section, and if I scroll down a bit, you would also see output variables. Now here I need to define input variables first. So and map my input variables to this input which we created in first step. So I'll just simply create variable. So to avoid any confusion or any conflicts, I will name my input variable as sys id itself. And here in the value, what would be the value of the sys id? So this sys id from the data pane or from the first step you created. So this is the sys id I'm going to map here. As of now, we have created our first input variable for script step. Now I will create output variable. Now what output we are going to get from that action? So we will simply get info message, or let's say info. So I'll just type the info and press tab. So this would be get auto pop name would get auto populated. Again I'll save it. Okay, so now we have created our input variables and output variable in our script step. Now here in the script section, we will drive the logic, or we will create a logic that how it is going to assign it to specific group based on the categorization. So for that we need to write a glide record. So I will simply initiate the glide record object where inc equal to new glide record, and here I'll type incident because I am going to drive it on incident table. And then what I need to pass, so I will do inc dot add query. Now here in the query I will pass the sys id. And what would be the sys id of incident from the inputs which I have defined, and how to access that inputs? So I'll simply type a keyword called inputs dot sys id, which is the name of my inputs which we have defined in earlier steps. So I'll just simply enter it, inc dot query. If inc dot next, then first thing we need to get the value of category. So I will create one more variable called cate equal to inc dot get value, and this should be category field. Now we will write one more if logic. Here we will see if cate equal to hardware. Let's say if the category of the incident is hardware, then it should assign it to the hardware group. So I'm gonna to drive it inc dot assignment underscore group equal to. Now here I need to provide the sys ID of hardware group. I will go back to the home page. I will navigate to the sys user group table, sys hyphen user hyphen group dot list, and I will search for hardware. I will copy the sys ID of hardware group and simply provide it here. Okay. Now I will have to update this record. So I will do inc.update. Now finally we are done with the updation. Now we will set some values in the output variable. So let's say output dot info. If I scroll down a bit, you can see that this is the output variable called info. So I'll simply use outputs dot info equal to a message I will uh, pass, or I will define. Let's say this incident has assigned to hardware group, and that would be dynamic inc dot assignment group dot name. That's it. So as of now we have done it for the hardware category. Now we need to drive it for several more categories. Let's say category software, categories network. So I will utilize the logic of else if. Simply say I will utilize the logic of else if now, and I will use the same thing. If cate equal to, instead of hardware I'll use this time software. Then go ahead and I'll copy the same thing and paste here. Now here I just need to change the sys ID of the group. So in if case we provided a sys ID of hardware group because we are checking first that if the group is hardware. Now in the else if we are checking if the group is software. Let me correct the spelling. Software. Now here I will just go back to the group table, search for software group. Sorry, software group, and I'll copy the sys ID for software group as well. And I will just replace the sys ID here. Okay, so we have created it for the software category as well. So I'll just simply save it. And for the testing purpose, we are just going to test it. So now I will click on test. And here I need to provide the sys ID of incident as an input, which we defined. So I will just navigate to incident table, incident.list, and select any of the incident which has the category as hardware. Let's say this one ending with 057. So I'll just copy the sys ID of this incident and pass it here. Now I'll just click on run test. So it is running that test. Now it's you can see that your test has finished running. View the actions execution details. So I'll just click on this. So it will land me to the different page. Now you can see that the state is completed for this action auto assign incident, which is also completed. So I'll just expand the steps. Now under the info message you can see that the output is the incident is assigned to hardware group. That means our custom action is working perfectly all right or as expected. So I'll just close it. As of now we have configured it for the hardware category and the software category. Now the same way we are going to configure it for two more categories, which is network and database. So I will simply use the same logic. I'll copy the else if part and I will paste this in this another line, and here I need to change the category to database, which is we are comparing. Let's say database. Now I will go back to the groups, and here I will find the database group and copy the sys ID of it. So I'll just copy the sys ID of database group, and here simply I will replace the sys ID of my database group. Now I will just copy the same logic again and we'll do it for network group as well. So for the category is network. So here is the database. I'll change it to network with the backend name network. And here I will go back to my group table. I'll find the network group and I'll just copy the sysID of network group and I'm gonna to assign it to network group. So I'll just change the sysID of it. I will simply save it now. Okay, okay, so as of now we have configured our custom action. Now we are going to publish it. So I'll just simply click on publish. So as of now you can see that view zero flows because we have not attached this action to any of the flow for now. So I'll just click on publish. So as soon as okay, now our custom action has published. Now we are going to create a new flow and will attach this custom action to our flow. So I'll just simply click here into the workflow studio. Now under the flows I'll just click on new. So here I'm going to create a new flow and I will configure the new flow as simply provide a name auto assign incident. I'll simply provide the name auto assign incident and I'm not going to make any changes. I'll leave as it is and I'll simply click on build flow. So we have created our flow. Now we'll define a trigger condition. Trigger condition is whenever any new incident record is created. So we'll simply just click on done and just go back to this trigger and define the table incident and we'll click on done. So as of now, we've defined the trigger that whenever any incident is created on incident table, this flow will trigger. Now we are finally calling our action. So I'll just simply click on action. Now here I need to provide the name of my action auto assign incident. You can see that this is the custom action is coming on the list which we created. I'll simply select it. Now here if you see the sysID is the mandatory part because we have configured the input as mandatory and I'll come back to my flow and here I need to pass the sysID. How can I pass it? So if you see in the data pane in the triggers, so I'll just expand the trigger and you can see that incident records. So I'll just expand it and I'm going to provide the sysID of this incident itself. So I'll just simply copy the sysID or sorry, drag and drop the sysID here. I have done it from the data pane view. You can also do it with this data pill picker. So you just need to click on this record created incident record. You just expand it and you can simply select the sysID. This is the way. So we have done it. So I'll just click on done. Now we have simply passed the sysID. So we'll just activate this flow. We are not going to test it because I'm pretty sure it is going to work as expected. If you want to test it, you can go ahead and perform your testing. So I'll just simply click on activate. Now it has activated. Now we are going to create a new incident. So let's say we'll create incident.do. So it will open another form. Now here I'll provide the caller as able tutor and I'll select the category as hardware demo for custom action. I will simply as of now you can see that assignment group is empty. So I'll simply save it. Now you can see that the moment I saved it, assignment group got auto populated with hardware. So this means that custom action is working as expected. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to set the work note as that info message which we were setting up into the outputs. So for that what we need to do, we will come back to our actions, custom actions. So as of now if you see we have defined the inputs which is sysID, and in the script step we have defined our sysID as input variable and info as output variable. Now in the last step we need to define the output to access in the flow. So I'll just simply go back to output. First I'll simply click on edit create outputs and here I need to provide a name. So I'll simply provide info. I'll just press tab. So name would get auto populated and I'll save it. So here, if you see, this is my output info of this variable we have created. So I'll simply click on exit edit mode. Now you can see that this is coming up. Now we need to map the output variable to this output. So this is the output variable in the script step. So if I expand this step status or script step, so you can see that info is there. So info is the output variable. So I will simply map it here. So what this help for is, this is going to return this output in the flow where we can access this value, the value inside this variable within our flow. So I'll simply save it again and I will publish it. Now you can see that we have view one flows. So this action has been attached with our one flow, which is auto assign incident. So I will simply publish it. Okay, so now we are completely done with our custom action. So we have defined inputs, we have defined script steps, and we have defined outputs. Now I will come back to my flow. Now here, as of now, we created trigger. We call this custom action. Now what we are going to do, we'll simply reload this page again so that changes would reflect for the custom action. Or what we can do, we will simply just remove this custom action for a while, or we don't need to do it because we can see that this info is coming up now. Okay, now we'll just simply click on edit flow. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to add this info message in the work note. So I'll simply click on add action. I'll click on action. So we have one core action which is called update record. Now which record we are going to update? This incident record. So we'll simply drag and drop. Table would get auto populated. So I'll simply provide work notes. Work notes, what I'm going to provide in the work note. So I'll simply provide info. I'll just drag and drop info here. I'll click on done. Again I will activate it. Again I'll activate it. So this is getting activated. Okay, so now again my flow has published. Now let me clarify what we have done, or let me summarize it. So we created input first, input as sysID, where we will be passing the sysID of the incident within the flow. I'll just reload it one more time so that you would able to see it. It is loading. I'll just close it. Go back to workflow. Under the action, I'll click on auto assign incident. Okay, so this is a custom action. It is processing. Okay, now you can see that in the sysID, this is our input which we created, and we're passing the sysID with the help of flow while calling this action within the flow. Now under the script step, we defined logic, we created input variable, we created output variable, and in the output variable we stored this value, this output, as this incident has assigned to particular group. After that we created one output variable called info and mapped that output variable to this outputs, so which is info from the script step. Now we created flow, and in that flow we defined a trigger condition as incident created, and we called that action. Finally, in the last step, if I just click on this auto assign incident, now you can see that info is there. Info, we can access the outputs within the flow because we have already defined that output in our custom action, and we did update the record with the work notes with the same information which is coming on this output or coming as the output. Now I will go back to the incident table. I'll create one more incident this time with a different category. Let's say earlier we tested it for hardware. Now this time we're going to test it for software. So I will select able tutor and category as software. let's say demo for custom action part 2. I will save it. This time I'll just reload it one more time. You can see that assignment group is software. And if I come back here in the work note, this incident has assigned to software. That means that was the output of our custom action, and that is working as expected. So we have successfully configured our custom action in Flow Designer. So that is how you can build your own custom actions based on some different logic. So custom action we can build to drive complex logic where it seems tricky with out of the box core actions. So thank you for watching it. If you have any doubts, please do let me know in the comment section. Please do share, subscribe it. And if you have not watched a previous part of the Flow Designer series, I would recommend to go and watch it.